A lot of you tell me that cooking intimidates you, and I think one of the biggest things that intimidates people is their chef's knife. So today is the day. Meet me in my kitchen. I'm gonna teach you how to use your chef's knife like a pro. Welcome to Chef Jill's Chop. Literally, we're gonna chop today. So there's a couple of things I want you to keep in mind right off the bat. First, let's start with the knife itself. In my opinion, to get a chef's knife, you're gonna spend a little money, but that's okay. Now, the one I'm using today is one of my favorites. This is the Global Sai. It's an Asian knife. It is smooth. What I loved about this was it's heavy. European knives tend to be a little heavier, like the Henkels and the Wusthoffs. Asian knives, like Shuns and Globals, tend to be a little lighter, but this actually has some weight to it. And what I love is it's curved right here, so it allows me to grip correctly. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But my point being is this. This is not a place you want to skimp on spending, because I've had this for 7 years, but some of my knives are 15 to 18 years old because I've taken care of them. And what I don't want you to do is go online on, Amazon and all of a sudden just start purchasing whatever knives you think. I want you to find a kitchen store and I want you to go test them out. This is like test driving a car. You wouldn't just buy a car online. You want to feel it out. Some people like a 5-inch knife. Some people like a 9-inch knife. Some people like them heavy, like a square handle, like a round handle. You want to find the one that inspires you to get in the kitchen, okay? So for me, this is one of my favorite ones. Now, another thing you need is a cutting board, a decent cutting board. And when you start practicing your knife skills, get a cutting board that doesn't slip. If it does, put like a damp towel underneath or damp paper towels. But if this is slipping around, you're not gonna have a whole lot of luck and you might end up slipping and taking a digit. So no one's in the mood for that today. Now, I got my cutting board, I got my knife. My knife is ready to go here, nice and clean. Don't put it in the dishwasher. Not because, by the way, because it's gonna rust. You don't put it in the dishwasher because it gets dinged around. We don't want that. So the first vegetable I'm gonna do is celery, because I think it's the perfect food to practice your knife skills on, because it's not round and it's not gonna slip around and it stays put and it's easy to glide through. Now, right off the bat, how do you hold a knife? I'm gonna tell you how not to hold a knife. Your finger on top. Home cooks love to put their finger on top, and I'll tell you on Food Network, Anne Burrell will color your finger with a Sharpie. She will scarlet letter your finger. So we want to get your finger off the top of the knife. We also don't want you holding the knife down here. This is the reason I love this knife, but the proper placement, and I'm going to bring it around this way so Stephen can see. Take those pincher fingers. Your thumb is anchored on one side and your index finger is anchored on the other. You're literally grabbing the top third of your knife. So you can see that I'm grabbing the bottom part right here, and that's what gives you full control. So your hand wraps around, thumb, finger, boom, just like that. Cool? Stephen, get over the top right here just so you can see the angle of my index finger, how it's pointing kind of off to the right like that. Okay? That's the proper way. And it might feel weird at first, and that's okay. Once you get used to it, your life is so much easier. So now you got your knife here. What do you do with it? You see it on TV, right? Everyone just starts chopping. Don't do that. First of all, it's bravado. You don't need to. Second of all, I'm going to show you 90% of your chopping is a dance move. And once you've got this dance move, honey, you are in a good spot. Put your knife on the board, tip on the board. See how my hand is like rocking? Like, I know I look cool right now, Stephen. I really hope you put in some jazzy music for me right now. But this rock right here, this boom, boom, the tip of the knife not coming off the board, and you are rocking forward. Once you get this motion down, everything else in your life gets easy. Everything else in your life gets easy. So let's start with one. So, cutting board in place, fingers correct here. You can practice before you even get to it. Now, I'm gonna bring over my celery. Right now is the time where I'm supposed to tell you to claw your fingers and blah, blah, blah. Dude, if it's something like this, I hold it way back here. I never put my fingers in danger if I don't need to. I don't need to. So now, you start rocking forward, and you can go slow just to kind of get used to it. It's kind of moving, to the left. If you're left-handed, it'll move to the right. And you just rock forward. See how my fingers are way over here holding it steady? Just like that. And then you can practice. Okay, start speeding up a little bit. And just that rocking motion. Now when I get to the end, my fingers are clawed, and we'll talk about that later with the onion, just to keep them out of the way, but boom. Let's do it again. One more time. And that's what I'm saying, celery is such an easy thing to practice. I'm gonna put two together. Start with your rocking motion. My hands are way back here. Rock forward. And pretty soon, with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to knock it out super fast. And see how celery is perfect because it lays flat? I mean, you can practice on carrots and what have you, but carrots are round and then you have to peel them. And for right now, we're just practicing getting the basics. That is your number one basic skill right there. Boom, so easy. All right, and the other one I wanted to show you today, we're not gonna go super in depth today. I'm not gonna show you how to, shift a knot and tornade and do all the skills. Today is how to do a rock chop and then how to chop an onion, because onions start like every recipe. And so many people, either they get the thing that chops it for them, or they put it in a food processor, or they just hack at it, which I see all the time. And it's like, oh, it gives me anxiety. I'm gonna show you the proper way to chop an onion, okay? Now, first things first, it's round, so we're gonna have to flatten that out. So what I do is I take off both sides, both ends, and just get rid of them. Don't need them. Now, there is very little ventilation in this kitchen, if any. There's no ventilation in my kitchen. Listen, I am the ugly crier. I am the Kardashian crier. I just turn puffy and it's gross. There are several ways to keep me from crying with this. One, you can keep your onions in the fridge and that slows down the vapors that are gonna hit my eyeballs. Two, I have these super sexy onion goggles. I've had them for years. And I know you think I'm being silly and this is a bit. It's not. Look how worn out these are. You can hear my husband in the other room like, woohoo, because he knows that these are sexier on me than me actually crying because I just turn into like a monster. So I throw these on, they're insulated. You can get them on Amazon or a local cooking shop. I'm telling you, this isn't a bit. This isn't me trying to make this segment funny. This is my life. This is what I wear all the time because I have cut thousands of onions in my life, maybe millions. And I am a blonde, pale, sensitive girl that just cries at chives. Like, it is what it is. I've had every single chef in the world be like, you just have to get used to it. You don't. My eyes don't get used to it. I use these. Now, all right, so now I've created a little bit of a flat surface down here. Stephen, by the way, if you start crying, I apologize because it's probably a really strong onion. So we'll see how Stephen holds up. Now, holding it upright, go ahead and chop it in half and give it a peel. And if one of the layers is like paper, just get rid of the bad layers. Make it easy on yourself to chop. So what I'm gonna do now for this onion, because so many people have to chop onions, and it's the same for shallots or any kind of onion. There's lines going down this onion, and they tell you what to do. So right now, these lines are facing me. I want them coming at me. I want them vertical and coming straight at me. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this very top part, about 1/4 inch or so, intact. So I'm gonna go like this. Now you can see straight down those lines, but I'm leaving that intact. It's gonna help hold it all together. But you can see me chop down these lines. Ooh, I can tell it's a strong one. Sorry, Stephen. So now I went down those lines, but it's still holding together because of that. Now let's give it a 1/4 turn, just like that. If you want a large dice, chop straight down. Now you got yourself a large dice. If you want a small dice, very carefully, keep your fingers on top, cut right through the middle like this, till you get to like the end, and then chop straight down. And now you're gonna get yourself a much smaller dice, just like that. Now, you doing all right, Stephen? All right. It's strong. I can, through the glasses, I can feel it. Now you get to the end here where I didn't cut through. All you do is tip it over, just cut it in half and turn it. And then remember our little rock in motion we just did with the celery? Just rock right through it. Now I'm gonna do the other half for you. I'll go a little bit faster this time because it's not like you can't just rewind this. So now give it the other half a peel. I'm using a red onion just so you can see it a little bit better. And now I'm gonna cut down those lines, but keeping the end intact. Give it a 1/4 turn. Straight down right now is gonna get me some large dice. But if I want a smaller dice, very carefully cut through the middle. Now look at my hands. When we were talking about the claw before, having flat fingers, oh my gosh, that gives me so much anxiety. Claw them up. That way you do not get, it's just hitting your knuckles and you're not gonna chop off any finger because nobody has time for the emergency room these days. Now I'm at the very end like I was before. Tip it over, cut through the middle, 1/4 turn, and just rock it through like we did before. Easy peasy. So today, those are the only two I'm going to show you. The rock cut and how to properly chop an onion. So I look forward to doing some more videos like this. We'll go a little more in depth coming up in the future of some more fancy cuts, some more fun stuff to do. But today we're doing just a basic technique. I hope you learned something. Leave me a comment if you feel like it. Don't forget to subscribe and share it and tell your friends. Thank you for visiting my kitchen and visiting Chef Jill's shop. I'm gonna show you just 2 really simple cuts that'll get you rolling, get you confident in the kitchen. Meet me in there, and none of this makes sense. I'm gonna start it again. Let's try it again. But I feel like I had a good point.